Okay, Tef. Good morning, buddy. Happy Saturday. Yeah, I wasn't feeling too great waking up this morning because I've been sick and I took some Theraflu. And you know us, man, we're affected by any type of medicine, right? So I'm drinking juice now because Dane told me to drink some juice. And I just had a bunch of fruit, like peaches and peaches, bananas, and watermelon, stuff like that. Anyway, buddy, I don't want to make this too long, but step one, we're going to stay on step one for a little while. I'll go to the big book. Yesterday I was on the 12 and 12. Today we'll do the big book. And, I want to stick on the topic of, like, when you go to AA, places like that or whatever, in meetings, you start to think that your problem is, like your main problem is that, like we talked about yesterday, is when I start drinking, I can't stop, right? And we got an allergy to alcohol, right? And it sets in emotion, the acetone, and it goes to the brain, and it makes you crave the second drink more than you crave the first drink, and that kind of stuff, right? So, on page 23, in the big book, we'll do a little reading on step one today. Page 23, it says, these observations. The observation is the fact that I have an allergy. The observation, the fact that when I start drinking, I can't stop. I cannot stop until I pass out, right? It says, these observations would be academic and pointless if a friend never took the first drink, thereby setting the terrible cycle in motion. Therefore, the main problem of the alcoholic centers in his mind rather than in his body. Okay, so the problem is in our mind, like we talked about on page 35. What does 35 say? 35 says, so we shall describe some of the mental states that precede a relapse into drinking, for obviously this is the crux of the problem. The problem is what's going on in my mind before I even take that first drink. Going back to the doctor's opinion, we're restless, we're irritable, we're discontent. And we remember the ease and comfort that comes at once. We're just taking a few drinks. But you know what we don't remember? And here's what it says. At a certain point in the drinking of every alcoholic, he passes into a state where the most powerful desire to stop drinking is of absolutely no avail. So, knowing I have an allergy, knowing I might end up losing my son again, knowing I might go to jail again, without a program, the most powerful desire to stop drinking is of absolutely no avail. This tragic situation has already arrived in practically every case long before it is suspected. The fact is that most alcoholics, for reasons yet obscure, have lost the power of choice in drink. Why? Our so-called willpower becomes practically non-existent, and we are unable to, at certain times, to bring into our consciousness with sufficient force the memory of the suffering and humiliation of even a week or a month ago. We are without defense against the first drink. There's going to come a time, like on page 43, it says the same thing. So to wrap up once more, the alcoholic at certain times has no effective mental defense against the first drink, except in a few rare cases. We're not going to worry about those rare cases. Neither he nor any other human being can provide such a defense. His defense must come from a higher power. We'll get to the higher power later. It's on page 45. That's exactly what this book is about. So, knowing I have an allergy, knowing I'm going to get in trouble. When I first got to AA, I did a lot of relapsing, if you will, or I just kept drinking or whatever. And the reason was I thought my problem was when I start drinking, I can't stop. I can't, So if that's my problem, okay, then the solution is going to be don't start drinking. And what I realized my real problem was I can't stop starting. I'm going to drink no matter what because of the obsession, because of that mental state which comes from that restless and that irritable and that discontent place. And I'm going to remember the ease and comfort, and I'm going to forget with sufficient force the humiliation and suffering, and I'm going to take a drink again. And I'm off to the races again. One well-known spree, and emerging remorseful, I'll never do this again. And I really meant it. I'll never do this again. And I repeated over and over and over again until I surrendered to this program and did what these guys were doing and followed these steps, and the obsession had to be lifted. It wasn't about not drinking anymore. It's not about not drinking. It's about the obsession to drink is lifted. I no longer need alcohol to be comfortable. What can I do for you? How are you doing? That's what I want to know. What can I do for you? Not about what the world can do for me. I was restless and irritable, discontent all the time when I wasn't drinking. So I had to tell myself, like it says, Jim's story that we're going to read, probably next time. He pours whiskey in the milk, right? on a full stomach, that's an insane thought. So, but it comes from, it said in his story that he was irritable at a boss of a company he used to own, you know. It says that in the story, but it also says in the story that he failed to enlarge his spiritual life. And of course, he took a drink again. And there's only two mistakes we make in AA that I see, and they both have do with spirituality, and they got nothing to do with alcohol or drugs. And the first mistake is we fail to enlarge our spiritual life. Okay, that's on page 35, Jim's story. And the second mistake we make, or the other mistake we make, is on page 86. We let up on the spiritual program of action and rest on our laurels. We're headed for trouble. We're headed for a drink if we do that. So the two mistakes we make have to do with spirituality and nothing to do with alcohol or drugs. I either failed to enlarge my spiritual life and I got no chance, or I let up on the spiritual program of action and I got no chance. I'm going to drink again. So that's some step one stuff. I want to stay on step one for a couple of days because half of our working text, it ends at 103, not 164, but step 12 ends at 103. And if you include the doctor's opinion, over half of our text is on step one. So it's very important. We're going to stay on it for a few days. Okay, buddy, I'm going to put this on YouTube and send it to you.